Hello from Freedom Tax. We hope that everyone is staying safe and that they are healthy. We're an accounting firm here in Central Florida. We are doing a series of videos to provide accurate information to business owners regarding several topics relating to how to get help for your business during this coronavirus pandemic. In this video, we're going to talk about PPP loan forgiveness for self-employed, sole proprietorships, and independent contractors. Important to note that I am recording this video on May 4th. Why is this important? Is because new guidelines and rules will come in the future. There's a lot of things that are not clear, and the SBA has made it clear that new rules will come further. So whatever you hear in this video may change in the future, but I'm gonna give you the most accurate information we have so far. Okay, now let's get to the presentation. All right, so if you don't know us, we're part of Freedom Group. Freedom Group is a group of 4 companies where we have Freedom Tax Accounting, Freedom Immigration, Freedom Realty, and Freedom Insurance Financial. We're a group of 39 professionals with more than 20 years of experience. Our team has CPAs, EAs, tax advisors, financial advisors, insurance agents, lawyers, real estate professionals, so we can help businesses and individuals in many ways. Okay? Now, important to note that there are 2 sets of guidelines regarding PPP loan forgiveness. Okay? One set of guidelines is for businesses that got PPP funding, and these businesses have employees in payroll. Okay, if you're a business that got the PPP loan for your payroll employees, this video is not for you. We have another video in YouTube on the rules so you can get your PPP loan forgiven. Okay, this video is for self-employed, sole proprietorships, or independent contractors that got the PPP loan, and they have a specific set of rules for them. Okay, so basically, if you get a 1099 or anyone who fills out a Schedule C on their personal tax return, this may be single members LLCs. If you got your PPP funding if you applied as a sole proprietor, independent contractor, or self-employed, and you got PPP funds, this video is for you. Any business that got PPP through payroll for their employees, please check out our other YouTube video for the tips on how to get your PPP loan forgiven. Okay? Now, if you were one of the businesses that got PPP funds, I want to say congratulations. That's a very big victory. A lot of people didn't get funded. Still today, a lot of businesses are trying to apply. So if you were one of the blessed businesses that got PPP funding, congratulations. But now is where the work really starts, okay? Because the ultimate goal is that you got the funds, but now you want to do certain things to get 100% forgiveness so that you don't have to pay anything back. Okay, now free money usually comes with rules. Okay, now it's very important to note that the guidelines for self-employed PPP forgiveness are still not clear. Okay, so more guidelines will come. Okay, so it's important that you stay tuned to our YouTube channel, or that you work closely with your CPA and make sure that they are up to date with the guidelines. Okay, so you achieve getting 100% forgiveness for your PPP loan. Okay, now once you get the funds, you must use those funds for specific expenses in order to qualify for forgiveness, and you must use those funds in 8 weeks. Okay, 8 weeks after you got the funds in the bank. That's where the clock starts. Okay, It's not when you got it's not when your application got approved. Once you get funds in the bank, that's where the clock starts ticking for 8 weeks. Once again, that's what the guideline says today, May 4th. The International Association of CPAs, as we speak, they are recommending that be changed. But as of today, the SBA guideline says the 8 weeks start counting from the date the funds go into your bank account. Okay? Now, one of the expenses that are eligible for forgiveness is payroll costs. Now, if you're self-employed, an independent contractor, or a sole proprietorship, you usually don't have payroll. Okay? So, for self-employed individuals, payroll costs are defined as the net profits on your 2019 Form 1040, which is your personal tax return, on the Schedule C in line 31. Okay, so what is that all about? Let me show you. Okay, if you're a sole proprietorship, an independent contractor, or self-employed, the way you file taxes is inside your personal tax return. Okay, so inside your personal tax return, where you report your business income, is in this form. It's called the Schedule C, where here's where you report all your income and your expenses. Okay, so if you got your PPP funds, you should have provided this to your lender. Okay, now what is the net profit? If you scroll down and if you see line 31 in your Schedule C, that's your net profit, and that's what the IRS says it's your income, your personal income as owner compensation. Okay, so back to the slide. Okay, so from that amount of net profit, you will be eligible for forgiveness of 8 out of 52 weeks worth of the net profit. Okay, let me show you an example. Okay, let's say that you had a net profit here, right, on your Schedule C in line 31. You had $60,000 net profit in 2019. Okay, now to calculate your PPP loan amount, you took that net profit, you divided by 12, and you multiplied by 2.5. So you should have received $12,500 as your PPP loan. This is the funds you got. Okay, now out of that, payroll cost or owner compensation will get forgiven. So how do we calculate that amount? So we take the same $60,000 profit, you divide by 52, that gives you your average weekly compensation, and then we multiply by 8, because they're going to forgive 8 weeks worth of owner compensation. So if we take this example, it's $9,230 with 23 cents. This will be the amount of PPP loan forgiven as owner compensation. Okay, now this is very important because I've seen even other CPAs do this calculation wrong. They're dividing this by 12, and then, like they're saying, it's 12 months. So this is my monthly average compensation, and then they're multiplying by 2 months, saying it's 8 weeks. Okay, but no, the SBA said this is the calculation that they want to calculate 8 weeks worth of owner compensation. So if you got $12,500 PPP loan, this amount you have to use to pay yourself, okay, as owner compensation, okay, to get all this amount forgiven. Now, it gets tricky because the language on the guidelines, you kind of sense that they're going to forgive this automatically, but it's not clear how they're going to forgive this amount. If you have to pay yourself, if you have to have this on a separate bank account, but definitely this is the way you calculate the amount, okay? So if you got $12,000, $500 of PPP loan, and this is your owner compensation, now $3,000, $267.23, it's a balance that is still yet not forgiven, because this amount doesn't count as owner compensation, okay? So how do we get this amount, the $3,000, forgiven? Now we need to use these funds for other eligible expenses, okay? So the remaining non-forgiven balance from owner compensation, you have to use it in mortgage interest, business rent, or utilities like water, electricity, and telephone, okay? Now, very important, the guideline says that in order for you to claim these expenses as forgivable, these expenses must have been a deduction in your 2019 Schedule C. What does that mean? That in order for you to apply for forgiveness from your PPP loan for mortgage interest, business rent, and utilities, let's go back to your Schedule C. This is your Schedule C that you filed for 2019. Those expenses must have been deducted here as business expenses in 2019. Those expenses can either go here or in the second page of your Schedule C here, okay? If these expenses are not part of your 2019 Schedule C, you cannot claim them for PPP forgiveness this year, okay? So that's very important to know. All right. Now, that's basically the two sets of expenses you can apply for forgiveness, okay? We really feel that the key of getting the most amount of funds forgiven is documentation, okay? If you did get the funds, make a budget and do a plan on how you're going to spend this money, okay? Because remember, after an 8-week period, you're gonna have to send a request for forgiveness to the lender. And this is very important. Why? Because the forgiveness application is going to go to the bank or lender that gave you the funds. The application for forgiveness is not going to go to the SBA, okay? Now, you're gonna have to show proof what the funds were used for, and you're gonna have to certify that the information provided was accurate and true. This is why we feel it's very important that you seek help of a CPA or your accountant now, so they can start keeping track of these expenses for you. So when in 8 weeks you have to send this application for forgiveness to the bank or lender, you already have certified documentation, okay? Now, once again, you need to check with your lender their specific requirements. Every lender, same as with the PPP application, each lender had different requirements. For loan forgiveness, they're gonna have different requirements as well. Now, in my personal opinion, lenders as of this date, May 4th, 2020, I think they don't even know the complete regulations for forgiveness today. Why? These funds and programs were designed so fast that when you read the guidelines, there's a lot of details and there's a lot of questions on how these forgiveness is going to work, okay? But the guideline does says that all lenders, once you provide the forgiveness application, it says that the lenders have 60 days to decide whether or not you qualify for forgiveness. Okay? Now, my recommendation is, if you did get the funds from a lender or a bank, start communicating with your lender now. Okay? Start emailing them, start communicating with them, get someone on the phone, get someone in an email, and start asking about how your forgiveness is going to work. It's better to start communicating with someone now, because the same way banks and lenders got bombarded with applications, in 8 weeks they're gonna get bombarded with loan forgiveness applications. Okay? And I think if you communicate with them now, you're gonna get first in line for forgiveness, and it's going to help. Now, that's my personal opinion. This is nowhere in the guidelines, okay? But I've always liked to have communications with the banks or someone you know, so they can help you, okay? Now, what would happen if a portion of your loan doesn't get forgiven? Okay, basically the balance or the amount of your loan, the PPP loan, that doesn't go into forgiveness, that will roll over to a loan with the bank. Okay, now the loan terms are that it's a 1% interest loan. You have 2 years to pay it back without prepayment penalties, and you have a 6-month deferment to start making payments. Okay, now this is still a pretty good deal if you don't get your funds forgiven, because this is better than a credit card or a line of credit. Okay, now important to know that even though you have 6 months of deferment to start making payments, interest will accrue during this period. Okay, and the importance of that, if they don't have prepayment penalties, that's good, because let's say, well, if you're a sole proprietorship, the max PPP loan you were able to get was $20,833. Let's say that you got $20,000 in PPP loan as an independent contractor. From those $20,000, you only got forgiven $15,000. If you didn't use those extra $5,000, you can always give it back, and you don't have to pay a loan. Okay, so that's one tip there. Okay, other tips is, don't go through this forgiveness process alone. Okay, we feel that after you get the funds, work closely with your CPA, work closely with your accountant or your financial advisor. You have to keep track of the funds, what you're using them for. Certified and accurate reports will be the key to maximize the forgiveness of your PPP loan. Okay, and why should you also work with a professional? Is because guidelines will continue to change, and I know you as business owners, you're super busy right now trying to keep your business afloat. Okay, so work with someone that it's keeping track of all the guidelines, because if changes do come, you have to make changes fast and provide documentation fast and accurately to the lender or the bank. Okay, we really feel that if it was hard to get the funds, it's going to be even harder to get them forgiven. Okay, so work with a professional, work with your CPA, work with your accountant. Even if they charge you an extra fee for the extra work, it's totally worth it to do your best to try to get this PPP loan 100% forgiven. Okay, now if you don't have a CPA, if you don't have an accountant, we are working here at Freedom Tax. We are working virtually. Everything is being done by email, WhatsApp, chat, phone. We're here working, okay, so we can help you during this time if needed. This is our contact information. But thank you for listening for all this information from me. God bless you. We really feel that God is in control. We trust Him. as our Lord and Savior. So I tell you, I recommend that you read Psalm 91 of the Bible. There's a lot of good promises for God's people there during this pandemic. Okay, so once again, this is our contact information if you have any questions or you want our help during this PPP loan forgiveness period. Okay, thank you once again, and God bless you. Bye.